Bullying can occur in so many different fashions. It can come verbally, it can come physically. There's sexualized bullying, and the newest, most popular right now, I think, is the cyberbullying. And we're going to talk about all of those different forms. But it's the intimidation of another person. And they feel bad, and they start self-doubt, depression sets in. So we're going to go through a few of these. Does anybody work in a school or ever worked a lot of school? Okay, so have you ever kind of seen something like this? It happens a lot. And this, I would say, is probably around 5th grade, early middle school, that you'll see kind of these little faces like that. And it's heartbreaking. All right, why are some children targeted but others are not? What is it that children are targeted for? And it could be that they themselves have low self-esteem, socially awkward, isolated, new. We do in San Antonio, we live in a military community, and we have a lot of movement. We have a lot of factories, larger organizations where people move around. So we see a lot of that change. Difficulty making friends, having few friends, no friends, that isolates them. If they have different body size, either someone perceives them as too large or too small, they can also be targeted for bullying. Signs that a child's being bullied. There's a lot up here, and that's a lot to look for. And every child's not going to have every one of these signs, so we're not going to go through all of this. But a lot of what I see, especially at the hospital and the children that I've worked with, is a decline in grades, and that's when parents start noticing that maybe there's something going on. They don't want to go to school anymore. They always seem to be asking for more money. They come home with their stuff is missing, and they supposedly give it to a friend. Well, my friend needed it, so I had to give it to them. So you see different signs that something's going on. Sometimes they come home from school just hungry. That may be that the bully is taking their food from them or taking their money so they can't get food. And then they might start, if they feel like nobody's listening to them, in the end, they get more self-destructive. They may start cutting. They may start running away. They feel like nobody's protecting them, so they may take more of these more drastic portions at the bottom here. Running away from home, harming themselves, and then the suicidal verbalization starts coming out. Anything up here surprise you? Oh, physical pains, physical aches with the bullying. That starts really early in elementary school. You start seeing that they like their teachers, they like their classes, they're doing their work, they could be straight A students, but all of a sudden they seem to always have a stomach ache or always have a headache. They can't go to school. It's hard for parents because how do you prove they don't have a headache or they don't have a stomach ache, that they're not hurting? And they are physically hurting, but it's caused because of the bullying that they're getting at their school. And this is important too. We have to look at the bullies. What signs show you or might be a concern for a parent that their child is actually being the one who is bullying? And I had a mom who came up to me one day and she was just crying. She goes, my son, he is the bully after coming to this program. And we worked on finding ways for her to support her son and get that help for her and her family. But unexplained money, new belongings, that's where they came from our other children. Not accepting responsibility for their actions. Well, they made me do it. They're increasing aggression, like the children we just talked about this morning, but not quite that explosive. These children do know what they're doing, and it is planned. They try to rally people around them that are going to support their behaviors. They may not necessarily be friends, but they may feel like bullied into being with this person, otherwise they're going to get bullied. So they may start rallying around that person. Let's see. They may come from homes where there is aggression in the home. I don't have that up here. And or they're being bullied at home or somewhere else, or have been bullied in the past. So it might be something to keep an eye on when you get children into your facility as to have they ever experienced bullying themselves, being bullied. Now I'm going to go through briefly, especially since I had a lot of hands come up for school, is the concerns that it's a little bit different for each of the age groups. And I know one of the presentations yesterday was saying that like bipolar shows up differently in children than it does in adults. And some of these effects come out differently. Sometimes, actually going back to the bully, depression comes out as aggression a lot of times with children. So the children who are being the bullies may actually be depressed. So it's good when parents and schools can see some of these behaviors. Maybe we can get them the help that they need. But with our elementary school, this is where, and it just recently, the cyberbullying started kicking in the elementary schools because technology is so available. It starts very early now. When way back in the day, when I was young, it was just the name calling. It was the mean names and starting rumors or gossiping. Oh, you're not my best friend today. Anybody ever work with littles? You work with the younger ones where it's like, oh, you're my best friend. No, you're not my best friend anymore.
That relational aggression where don't talk to her. We're not friends with her.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's what was said is the relational aggression, where it's don't talk to that person. You can talk to that person, but not that person. So you start seeing this in the elementary. And I have actually had like kindergartners coming in with that already. And we have a lot of children going to Head Start programs, so they're actually going to school much earlier. And it's starting so early with our children. The name calling and the being cruel to each other. And this is where the physical illness, the parents take them to the doctor all the time. They're like, the nurse is calling saying, your child's doubled over in my office again. You know, can you come get them? And they're like, I just took them to the doctor. I've taken them to the doctor, where we've gone to regular doctors, we've gone to gastrointestinal doctors. We can't figure out what's going on. We've gone to neurological doctors, can't figure out what's going on. So that part's something, and that's when the parents are like, okay, something else is going on, so we have to figure out what to do. Grades start dropping, and they may get angry at home. Like you may not see it at school, but the parents are like, are they acting out in school? Are they getting mad at school? Because they're really coming home angry. So that might be a sign that something's going on around them in their environment. And irritable. And it's hard sometimes with this age group because they start having all those hormonal changes around 4th, 5th grade. So is irritability due to bullying, or is it due to something else going in life? But we always want to check for what's going on in addition to just that irritability coming up. Is anything else happening? Middle school. Look, all this jumps up here. Middle school, they start changing classes. So it gives that opportunity to start skipping class. Teachers are like, well, they were just in my class. Why aren't they in your class? And they're going to the bathroom and just hiding out in the bathroom, or they're running errands for different teachers, or they have to go to the counselor or have to go talk to somebody. So you start seeing the skipping of school. Actually, the truancy starts getting pretty bad because in middle school, the kids start growing and they get stronger. So parents sometimes at this point start saying, I can't get them out of bed. You know, and as the therapist and stuff and, you know, as the teachers were like, well, make them get out of bed. You know? It's like, wait, how do you make them get out of bed when they're bigger than me? Anybody have an idea for that answer? How do you make them get out of bed if they're bigger than you? Or if they're mean or strong?
Water on myself.
Water. Did it work? Okay, good.
I made sure it was in the refrigerator the night before.
Oh, you had a plan. Good. Yes. So throwing water on them. There you go. It doesn't hurt, just the shock value. Get up out of bed. I'm not going to put up with this. And that might work. That works for some children. These kiddos are already at the point where water's not going to hurt me, but worse than when I go to school and somebody's spreading horrible, horrible rumors about me. And so that's great. Anybody else tried something?
We've actually gone to the house, tried to get the kid to come, and then called the police. Parents called the police and come to the home and talk to them about their obligation.
Okay.
And that's put an end to it.
Oh, good. So what was set up here is that the school has actually stepped in and gone to the homes to visit with the families and then called the police when the children don't get up to explain the responsibilities so that the whole family and the school and the child understand their responsibilities to get the child to school. And that helps too. At times, if they know that they've got the school support and they've got somebody who's there that they can count on and depend on when something's going on. And that's great because it's hard to get people that have the ability, especially to school, to go out to the homes. So that's wonderful. Your school has that ability. I like that. Again, isolation. This is a lot where this is suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, and self-injurious behaviors. We see a lot of children cutting starting around like 11, 12 is early. We have had children in our program, ours starts at 8 years old. We have had 8-year-old cutters. But you really see it start blossoming, sadly. We don't want it to blossom here, but it tends to start here. And it could be that they've seen it on lovely technology, shows some of that stuff. They may have friends who said, well, it worked for me. Different reasons that people do it. They may start using drugs and alcohol at this point. So, it's not just let me test out the drugs and alcohol. They're just trying to escape. And that's another way to escape from the pain of what's going on for them, the bullying that's occurring. And as we see here, the sexual bullying starts more at this level. Girls start developing and boys start noticing. And so that, oh, what I want to do to you, oh, what I'm going to do to you. And so they start going, I don't want to be here. But they're afraid to tell anybody because it's like, wait, did I make them want to do this? Did I make them say this? They start doubting themselves why people are starting to ask them these questions or talk to them like that as if it's something that they did wrong. The emotional bullying does increase because now you've got all these lovely hormones going on in addition to everything else. So they start getting mean. And especially if somebody starts developing before, like the popular kids and somebody that's not the popular starts developing early and the boys start noticing them, that happens, the bullying. And for boys, it's the opposite. Some of the boys start getting their muscles, they get more athletic, and some children fall behind, so they may get bullied as well. There is still the physical aggression, and you see it, but not quite as much. It's a lot of the threats. It's like the bump a shoulder and, oh, you see what I do to you. And those verbal threats are just as terrifying as if they were punched. At least they'd rather sometimes just get punched and get it over with than to have that fear all day. Well, what are they going to do to me? And that fear is awful.